What about
Rathalos?
You've already had it.
We've had one, yes. What about second?
Rathalos. Ladies, gentlemen, and riders of all ages, it's time to get excited for more beautiful Monster Hunter storytelling, as we've just had the announcement of Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection. The trailer just came out, and so I'm going to watch it, point out anything crazy that grabs my attention right out of the gate, before, of course, sitting down to rewatch it 100 times and comb through every detail, and I'll also be talking about my initial thoughts as well. And you can bet my first immediate thought is, oh my god, it's going to be another Rathalos, look at the egg, and lo and behold, the next shot shows a fully grown rider jumping onto a Rathalos from above, as well as another rider with Legiana, and all of this shot here is just absolutely sick, by the way. The classic stories, main theme, fanfare plays, and then we get to hear that same character's voice for some exposition, and we see a few cool things. First, I want to say that city does not look like it's Gildigaran. I know a lot of people will say a big city in stories must be the same big city we've seen previously in stories games, but this city is very sort of medieval European style architecture all around it, and that's the vibes that I'm getting from the story in general too, which on the surface just seems more grown up and mature to me than previous stories games. He talks about the encroachment causing two kingdoms to go to war over a shot with a guy in just like typical knight armor with a longsword pointing forwards beside a freaking ballista. There's like a whole like line of archers that are firing like it's classic medieval warfare. It looks incredible. Then during the trailer, the character straight up calls his Rathalos Ratha at one point, which really threw me for a loop because of course my next instinct was to remind myself what Lute looks like, the protagonist from Monster Hunter Stories 1, because the main Rathalos in that game was a baby Rathalos that was called Ratha. And despite some similarities in their personage, this new protagonist has a different eye color, so they clearly wanted to say it is not the same person. That said, there's of course new monsters in this, including ones that were simply too recent to make it into Monster Hunter Stories 2. We see multiple creatures from Monster Hunter Rise, Rachnikadaki, one of my personal favorites, as well as Magnamalo. Then we get the big reveal of the trailer. Two Rathalos twins born from the same egg. Not just one Rathalos, we've got two Rathalos as the big special monster this time around. Each one with an overgrown and powerful looking spike coming off of their head on a different side, and this could go so many different directions, but I cannot help but feel like the obvious cool one for this story they've been laying out is that these Rathalos twins were separated at birth, and the people that they went to will be a major force on each side of this war that's going to be happening in the present. Two enemies, each riding two halves of the same twinship, a shared bond between their monsties that cannot be broken, and when they meet in the field of battle, maybe we'll have classic stories, friendship type stuff, and the war will end because of the bond between these two Rathalos that refuse to fight. Maybe it will go the opposite way. I mean, this game is clearly trying to be a more adult and grown-up story than the previous Monster Hunter stories, so maybe the two Rathalos fighting each other in this way specifically could cause an insane amount of destruction, maybe some sort of weird chemical reaction from their fireballs hitting each other and it makes a massive explosion, and that's what changes things, and that's what makes the war start moving towards an end one way or the other. Or maybe they go a whole third way and the Rathalos can like merge into one super Rathalos, like if they work together and they bond and they do a fusion dance or something. Either way, this is looking to be a really fun change-up from the formula that we've had for the first two Monster Hunter Stories games as far as this side of things. I mean, yes, the main monstie is again going to be Rathalos. Technically, it's going to be two Rathalos, so it's twice as much. 3 games, 4 Rathalos, all of them with different special and unique things going on with them, to the point where I feel like soon they're going to have to explain why Rathalos specifically every time keeps being the one ending up with all these wacky one-off variations. I mean, obviously it's the flagship of the series, and that's probably the main reason why, but at a certain point you have to notice that there's a lot of just weird things going on with Rathalos specifically. Either way, I'm down for it. I think it's really cool. This honestly is flipping the stories on their head just in general. Instead of following a child's journey to becoming a fully fledged rider alongside their baby monstie that they could consider to be a friend and companion, instead of the sort of tribal setting that we've had in the last 2 games, and both of those games follow that formula very tightly and very similarly, we are now seeing a very different side of the concept of kinship and the concept of fighting with monsters, being a rider, and having monsties. These are monsties being used as a tool for war. These are monsties being bred specifically for combat and obedience and nothing else. This is, in every way possible, the darker side of the Monster Hunter Stories universe. And despite the fact that the Stories games are generally viewed as being very family friendly for what Monster Hunter is, I hope that they sort of drop that for this one. I hope they dive into the actual moral struggles and the dirtiness behind this new twist, rather than just having it be an unsaid backdrop set piece type of deal, like a thing just going on in the background that just happens to be a thing in this world that nobody talks about. Because this totally changes the context of the Ryder and monstie relationship in general. Sure, maybe they still have a bond with each other, but it is a bond born from violence. If the only reason you are making this bond with this monster is so you can ride it into war and nothing else, surely that taints what kinship is all about. Maybe that's exactly what is causing the encroachment and thus the war. At least I think that would be a cool way for them to do it. I think it's a thing that they should talk about. I think it's a thing they should lean into, instead of just having it be a thing with this village, I guess you could call it, because everything else is a village, even though it's clearly like a castle. All in all, this is exciting as all hell to me. This is an absolutely awesome trailer. I loved it. It gives serious, like, medieval drama vibes, like House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones style, but Monster Hunter, like it's like House of the Wyvern. And there's something about that that just really speaks to me as someone who already enjoyed the hell out of the first two Monster Hunter Stories game. I thought their storytelling was very fun, even though it was definitely aimed towards younger audience. And I'm genuinely so excited to see more about this game, which seems to be elevating that. I just love Monster Hunter in general, but after getting quaint enjoyment from the first Monster Hunter Stories game, I liked playing the whole way through it. The second Monster Hunter Stories game became a genuine addiction for me for a few months after it came out, and so a third Monster Hunter Stories game with potentially even more mechanical depth and with a story that I find way more immediately gripping and interesting has definitely got my attention for now. And it already has an incredible feeling of adventure and exploration that Stories is known for, just dripping off of that trailer, even from that early shot of them just jumping off of the cliff and landing on the monsties immediately flying. It's so cool. From the point after this trailer forwards, I might be going to spoiler-free mode on this game ahead of Pro and Noob. I might not watch future trailers. I don't know. I haven't quite decided yet, but for now, this teaser has made me extremely hyped for what is to come from Monster Hunter Stories 3: Twisted Reflection. And again, that name fits so perfectly with these two twins and the idea of them being separated at birth and having to fight each other. I hope you've all enjoyed this then. We'll probably have more detailed stuff coming on Monster Hunter Stories 3 in the near future if you want to know all the little tidbits going on in the trailer. But for now, what did you see in the trailer that excites you? Are you looking forward to it? Does it seem like it will be on par with the previous Monster Hunter Stories games to you from this slight glimpse? Or like me, do you think it might look like it even has more potential than the others? Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world our stage. Goodbye.